My name is Swashan Kharuka. I have done my MSc in Medical Radiation Physics from University of Wollongong, Australia. Then I did my PG diploma in Medical Radioisotope Technique from Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai. And then I did my PhD in Physics. Today we will discuss about the image artifact and their evolution in gamma camera and SPECT/CT. As you know, we are using unfiltered sources in the nuclear medicine department for diagnostic and therapeutic purpose. The primary services is given by the physician who referred the patient in the nuclear medicine department for diagnostic and treatment purpose. The secondary services is given by the nuclear medicine department. So our equipment should work properly to get a good reports. And that we can assure by doing the quality control test of the nuclear medicine instrument. So the objective of the quality assurance is to improve the quality of the diagnostic information, use a minimum amount of radionuclide activity to get the desired diagnostic information, and effective use of available resources. So first we are doing a acceptance test or reference test when we receive any nuclear medicine equipment in the department. In this acceptance test, we are performing certain tests and matching our value with the manufacturer's values. And these values becomes our reference value. Then we are doing a routine testing or a routine quality control test to check the performance of the nuclear medicine equipment or a gamma camera or a SPECT on daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly and yearly basis. And if we see any change in the value from the reference value, then we are taking a corrective action to correct it. And we are maintaining the record of these all quantity control tests to see that how the deterioration taking place in future. So by doing the quality control test, we are fulfilling the acceptation and demand of a physicist in terms of instrument, that my instrument is working properly. There's no problem. Clinician in terms of that image, that whatever image clinician is getting, that is free of any artifacts due to the instruments. And the patient in terms of the report, whichever report is patient is getting is perfectly okay. So these are the sources which we are using to perform the quality control test in the medicine department. That is the point source, collimator line source, and flood source of technetium 99M, cobalt 57 and gallium 67. These are the phantom we can use to check the performance of the SPECT gamma camera. That is bar phantom, linearity phantom, line source phantom with scatter, line source phantom to test the intrinsic and spatial resolution of the gamma camera or a SPECT. Zigzag phantom, it is used to check the total performance of the SPECT gamma camera. This is a line inserted phantom which we are using to check the spatial resolution of the SPECT or a gamma camera. This is a scatter phantom which we are using to check the dead time of the gamma camera in scatter medium. These are different reference, book or reports which can be used while performing a quality control or acceptance test of the SPECT or a gamma camera. So these are the different quality control tests which is listed in this table, which can be used to check the performance of the gamma camera or a SPECT. So what is the artifact? Artifacts are any error in the perception or representation of any information introduced by modalities or a techniques. Artifact can seriously degrade the aspect or a PET image and make image diagnostically unstable. Artifact can often mimic the clinical lesion. So there are four types of artifacts. First is the physical based artifact, which results from a physical process involved in acquisition of data. Then comes the patient based artifact. These artifacts occurs due to the patient movement or a presence of metallic materials in the patient. Then scanner based artifact, that is due to the imperfection in the scanner function. And in last, that is image processing artifact, which is produced by image reconstruction process. If there is any faulty reconstruction process, then this type of artifacts can be produced. So before administrating the activity in the patient, we are measuring the activity by using the dose calibrator. And if your dose calibrator is not working properly, then it can underestimate or overestimate the dose. This is the example where the dose, because of the malfunctioning of the dose calibrator, this dose calibrator is overestimated the dose. And because of that, we have injected the less activity than the desired activity in the patient. And because of that, we are getting a image which is not having a lot of noise in the image. So to check the performance of the dose calibrator, that it is working properly or not, we can perform certain tests. These are listed in this table, that is accuracy, consistency, linearity, and geometry. So what is the significance of the quality control in a SPECT system? Reconstruction technique amplify the gamma camera imperfections, such as poor uniformity, if there is a uniformity is poor, spatial resolution, which results in the significant artifact in the image. Rotation motion in the SPECT, which introduce artifacts such as detector head tilt and COR is not seen in planar image. Electrical and mechanical camera performance, which are more stringent for SPECT imaging. So first we will discuss that how the energy peaks affect your image quality. What we are doing before starting any study, we are peaking our gamma camera for the energy of the radionuclides going to be used. And we are seeing energy peak is within the window or not. If it is within the window, then it's no problem. We will get a perfect image. And if it's shifted at higher side, then we are getting a cold area in the image. And if it is shifted at the lower side, then we'll get a hot area in the image. Because of this energy shift, incorrect for energy window setting, it will degrade the uniformity, reduce the sensitivity, and we can increase the scatter contribution to the image, which can be understood by seeing this example, where when there is a 4% of peak, the image quality is degraded or become worst than this image where the offset or offset of the energy peak is 0%. So it is advisable that before starting any study, peak your gamma camera for the energy of the radionuclide going to be used. This is the second example which shows when there is a offset peak, or you can say when the peak is shifted or peak is not within the window, the bone scan image showing a worst image quality compared to this image where the energy peak is within the window. So second is what is the impact on the image quality if there is any problem with the intrinsic or extrinsic uniformity. What is the uniformity? Why we are doing the uniformity test is to check the response of the detector to a uniform radiation is uniform within the defined limits. This is a lung perfusion study performed on gamma camera showing, you see here is showing a patchy uptake in the image, which is not matching with the pathology of the patient. When the same patient is performed on gamma camera 2, the image is perfectly okay. So after investigation, it is what found there was a bad PMT tuning. So because of this bad PMT tuning, we are getting this type of effect in the image. So when we performed the uniformity test of this gamma camera, we found the uniformity is worst. So perform the PMT tuning, and after doing the PMT tuning again, perform the uniformity test of this gamma camera 1, and this time it was okay. So PMT tuning also affect your uniformity. The same non-uniformity, in case of SPECT, it will produce a ring artifact in the image. This is the second example where it is showing, because of the non-uniformity, it is showing a ring artifacts in between these two lungs in the lung perfusion study. It is due to the non-uniformity. So if your temperature also, your ambient temperature should remain within 20 to 30 degrees centigrade. If it is high, then it can affect your image quality, or it will degrade your image quality or your uniformity. You can see here, when the temperature within that 20 to 20 degrees centigrade is showing a good quality of image, when temperature becomes more than 22 degrees centigrade, around 26 degrees centigrade in gamma camera 2 room, then you see that image quality is degraded. Image becomes bad, and energy spectrum also becomes broad. And then when we performed the uniformity test of that gamma camera 2, the uniformity also becomes worst, or is showing a non-uniformity in the image. Uniformity is not showing good uniformity, and also the spatial region of that gamma camera also degraded. So ambient temperature also affect your image quality. So always keep the ambient temperature between 20 to 22 degrees centigrade. The PMT tubes, if there is any defective PMT tube present your gamma camera, it will also produce a cold area in your uniformity image, or it will affect your uniformity, which can be seen here. Because of the defective PMT in the gamma camera, it is showing a ring artifact in horizontal long axis. You can see here, which is disappeared after replacing the PMT tube of that gamma camera. This is the second example. This is a rubidium 82 myocardial perfusion imaging to evaluate the chest pain. And if you see here, it is showing a increased cardiac uptake of tracer in the anterior-basal aspect of the myocardium. It is due to the defective PMT tube in the SPECT gamma camera. After replacing the defective PMT tube from the SPECT gamma camera, you see it is showing a extra cardiac band of uptake in this region, and it is the evidence of a reversible defect in the anterior lateral wall suggestive the ischemia. if you compare this both image. Sometimes PMT gain also affect the uniformity, which can be understood by seeing this example. This is the image or uniformity image acquired by using the technetium 99M, and it shows a perfect uniformity of the gamma camera in case of technetium 99M. But when we acquired a uniformity by using iodine 131 of the same gamma camera, it is showing, you see, a hot area in the center of the PMT. So why this difference? In case of technetium 99, it's not showing any non-uniformity or hot area in the center of the PMT. But in case of the iodine 131, it is showing a hot area in the center of the PMT. So what is the reason? After investigation, it was found that some PMT showing a high gain, and due to this high gain, it is showing a hot area or hot lesion in the center of the image. So after setting the PMT gain within the range, in case of GV, it is the 128 to 128. Again, we acquired a uniformity image, or again, we did the uniformity test by using iodine 131, and this time it is not showing any hot or cold area in the image. The uniformity is perfectly okay. So PMT gain also affect your uniformity. So it should remain within the range. We are creating different correction maps, that is uniformity correction map, linearity correction map, and energy correction map, that I will discuss one by one, and what is the importance of this correction map and why we are creating them. First comes the uniformity correction map. As you know, in the gamma camera, some PMT having a high gain and some PMT is having a less gain. The PMT gain are not same. Theoretically, it should remain same. Why it remains same? So we can get a same counting comes from each PMT. But in practical, it is not. Some PMT is giving high counts, some PMT is giving less counts. So to make it same, we are giving a correction factor to each PMT by creating a uniformity correction map. And because of this uniformity correction map, we are getting a same counts from each PMT. You can see here, this is the image when we have not applied any uniformity correction map on the in the gamma camera. So we are getting non-uniform image, which becomes uniform after applying the uniformity correction map. This is the second example where without correction, uniformity correction map is showing a bad image or a cold area in the image, which is disappeared after applying the uniformity correction map. Second comes the linearity correction map. As you know that a SPECT or a gamma camera follow the or you can say they are non-linear. They are not linear. So, and because of this non-linearity of the gamma camera, there is a difference in between the estimated location and the measured location. And because of that, we are getting a wavy lines in the image. So to remove these wavy lines from image, we are creating a linearity correction map. And after applying this linearity correction map, you see the difference in between the estimated and the measured location, or you can say we have minimized the difference in between the estimated and the measured location and the wavy lines, and like that we are removing the wavy lines from the image. This is the example where you can see without linearity correction map, it is showing a cold area, and this is due to the linearity correction map. It's showing a cold area, you can see here. And after applying linearity correction map, this cold area is disappeared from the image, and image becomes perfectly uniform or good image. This is the second example. This is the image where we have not applied a linear T correction map while acquiring the image. It is showing a cold area in the image, which is due to the linear T correction map. We have not applied. And you create a linear T correction map for each radionuclide. You cannot use a technetium linear T correction map for thallium-201. Otherwise, what will happen? This linear T correction map will not work for thallium-201, and due to this, it will produce non-uniformity in the image, or you can say cold spot in the image. Now, the energy correction. Why? Why we need energy correction map? Because of if any interaction taking place in the center of the PMT, the energy peak or a count will be more compared to this interaction which is taking place between the PMT. So to make it same, we are creating a energy correction map. If you have not applied a energy correction map, then what will happen? You can understand by seeing this example where this image is without energy correction map. See here, it is showing a hot and cold area because of shift in the energy peak, or you can say difference in the energy peak, which disappeared after applying the energy correction map. This is a second example where you can see show a regular pattern over the whole field of view, and it is resulting from the energy calibration, or you can say faulty energy correction map. So you can measure the intrinsic or a extrinsic uniformity by using a point source in case of intrinsic accuracy and keeping this point source at 5 FOV from the surface of the detector. And this test we are doing without collimator. Or we can use a flood source of cobalt 57 or a technetium 99M to measure the extrinsic uniformity, that is with collimator, and keep this flood source on the surface of the collimator while estimating or while measuring the extrinsic uniformity. And then after acquiring the data, you can calculate the integral uniformity and the differential uniformity, and the uniformity, integral uniformity should not be more than 2 to 3%, and the differential uniformity should not be more than 1.5 to 2%. Now we'll discuss the spatial resolution. What is the spatial resolution? Is normally defined as the ability to distinguish two neighboring point sources. There are two types of spatial resolution, that is intrinsic resolution, which refer to how well the crystal and PMT system localize an interaction in the crystal, and it is affected by the crystal thickness, gamma ray energy, and scatter in the crystal. Second comes the collimator resolution, which refer to how well the collimators localize the gamma ray source in the patient, and it is affected by the hole diameter and length distance from the collimator to the patient. And the combination of this intrinsic and the collimator resolution is called a system resolution. So the purpose of the resolution is to check or detect the gradual long-term deterioration of a resolution rather than detecting abrupt changes. So we can see this example where you see when the 2-point source is at a distance which is equal to the resolution of your gamma canal. Suppose it is 15 or 12 mm. So if these 2-point source at 12 mm or more than 12 mm, then we can distinguish or we can separate these 2-point source as a 2-point source, right? If we reduce the distance between this 2-point source, or we can say we minimize the distance between these 2-point source, or instead of 12 mm, if we are making it 10 mm or 5 mm, then we cannot resolve this 2-point source as a 2-point source. Purpose of this example is that if your source or a lesion is at the distance equal to the resolution of the gamma camera, then we can resolve those two lesions as a two separate lesion. Otherwise, if it is less than that distance, then it will look like that it is only one lesion. So how the spatial resolution affect your image, that can be understand by seeing this example. If you see here, this is the cardiac perfusion study performed on gamma camera 1 or SPECT 1 and SPECT system 2. The SPECT system 2 is showing a bad resolution of the image compared to SPECT 1. When we perform a resolution test of SPECT 2, then we find that the resolution in the Y direction is not good. And due to that, we are getting a bad resolution. So always you perform the resolution test in both X and Y direction. The patient motion also affect your resolution. This is the example where when there is no patient motion, the image quality is better than the image where there is a patient motion. This is the second example which shows when there is a patient motion, it is showing a defect or artifact in the cyanogram, right? And because of that patient motion, it is also showing a less perfusion or a perfusion defect in this area of the cardiac, which is disappeared after doing the motion correction of in that particular study. You can see here the cyanogram becomes perfectly okay, and this perfusion defect also disappeared from this area. So spatial resolution test can be done. Again, there are two types of spatial resolution, as I told you, intrinsic and extrinsic. So spatial resolution, intrinsic spatial resolution can be done by using a point source and a bar phantom to keep the point source at 5 pfov from the surface of the detector. And to check the extrinsic resolution, you can use a flood source of cobalt 57 or a technetium 99M and a bar phantom, and then you multiplied the minimum bar space which is resolved by the gamma camera with 1.75. So it will give you the FWHM, that is your spatial resolution of your camera. Or if and the same things, you don't have that bar phantom with you, then you can use a line source to measure the spatial resolution of the gamma camera. Here we have shown it that this is the image of the line source, and then you draw a profile across the line source, and then you calculate the number of pixels between these two peak, right? And this is S, and this is D, that you know the distance between these two source, and if by knowing these two things, it will give you D by S, it will give you the pixel size, and then you multiply this pixel size with your these numbers. W is the numbers between these 2 points, that these 2 points we are taking foot width at half maximum of the photo peaks. So it will give you the FWHM of that gamma camera. So now we'll discuss the sensitivity, sensitivity is the number of count in per unit time, which is deducted by a scanner for each unit activity present in the source, and the unit for the sensitivity is counts per second per activity. Sensitivity also affect your image quality, which can be seen here. This is the image which we acquired by using the CZT crystal, showing a good sensitivity compared to this image which is acquired by sodium iodide detector. The test should be performed 6 monthly, and sensitivity test can be done by using a patented disc, and keep this patented disc at 10 centimeter away from the detector surface and calculate the sensitivity, that is counts divided by the activity and multiplied 100. Now the MWSR, the multiple window spatial registration. What is this? Multiple window are used to create an image, and the spatial resolution of the different energy are added together in the final image, right? This is the example where we acquired a bar phantom image using a gallium 67, which has a 3 energy 93, 183 and 296 K. When your MWSR is okay, then we are getting a perfect image of a bar phantom. Why? Because the spatial registration for the different energy, these are the different energy windows, are positioned properly, and that because of that the resulting image of the bar phantom is not losing any spatial resolution and perfectly okay. But if there is a problem with the spatial registration for the different energy window, or we can say that if they are not registered properly or positioned properly, then we lose the resolution of the image. And see here, and this is the patient example where because of this MWSR error, we are getting a image which lost the resolution of the image. Now, what is CUR? We'll discuss the CUR. If your CUR center of rotation is okay, then we are getting a perfect sinogram of the data. If your CUR is not okay, then it will produce a artifact in the sinogram or defect in the sinogram, and it will produce folk artifact in your image because of due to the small functioning of the CUR. And the acceptable limit for the CUR is plus minus 1 mm or 0.25 pixel offset for 64 metric size. If there is a 0.5 pixel offset occurs, the image quality is affected and result in 30% loss of spatial resolution and 40% loss in contrast. By seeing this example, you will understand more about the CUR, how it affects your image quality. You can see here, when there is a 3 pixel offset, the resolution of the image become vast compared when there is no offset in the CUR. This is the second example. When there is a 2 pixel offset, the resolution of the brain image become vast compared to 0 pixel offset. The center of rotation test can be performed by using a point source, and we are doing a CUR test for both 90 and 180 degree. Now we'll discuss the misregistration and how it affects your image quality. The problem in the misregistration or a co-registration in SPEC and CT are common and can be due to a system error or caused by movement of the patient. Right? If there is any movement, then what will happen? Your SPEC data will not perfectly registered with your CT data. Right? Second is the system must be tested. So system must be tested and recalibrated periodically, whereby a transform matrix is created to co-register SPEC and CT data. Right? Then error in the co-registration can occur either suddenly or gradually and can be a sign that there is a problem with the mechanism that controls the bed motion. This is the example where you can understand that what will happen on the image quality if there is any misregistration. You see here the CT data is not perfectly aligned with the SPEC data, and because of that it will produce a attenuation correction artifact in your reconstructed images, and due to that we are getting a perfusion defect in this wall of the card. After realigning the CT data with the SPEC data, this perfusion attenuation artifact in the reconstructed data or a perfusion defect is disappeared from the reconstructed image. So the co-registration test can be done by using a co-registered phantom. This is in case of G, we are using this co-registered phantom. And if you don't have the co-registration phantom, same test can be performed by using a SPEC phantom. So this is all about the artifacts produced in the SPEC or a gamma camera due to the error in the quality controls. Thank you.